Welcome back, listeners. It's Sunday in South Carolina. Welcome to the Touchdowns podcast presented by Cross Country Mortgage, Harrison Williamson. Whether you're needing financing to purchase your first home or looking to refinance an existing loan, Harrison Williamson is your guy for everything related to mortgages. He is licensed not only in the state of South Carolina, but neighboring states like North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Please give Harrison a call for all of your mortgage needs at 828-406-3684. Welcome in, Thomas. We had a bye week. We didn't have to watch the Gamecocks and be miserable like we have been the last month of Saturdays. So it was nice to take in the action yesterday. However, from our perspective, the bets didn't go too well. Ross, do you have my picks from last week by chance? Yeah. Ugh. Friday night, Memphis, they laid an egg. Of course, their starting QB was announced as a game time decision on Friday. We made these picks on Wednesday. The line moved. It still didn't matter. They didn't play well. I don't even think they led at any point in the game. Tulane kind of washed them. Washington, that team was supposed to be fighting for respect nationally and in the Big Ten, and they go and lose outright to Wisconsin. Wisconsin had 48 yards passing, 24 of which was from their punter. So their quarterbacks, I think they played two guys combined for 24 yards passing, and they still beat Washington. So yeah, Washington fans can kick rocks on having any type of respect or thinking that y'all belonged in any type of conversation. I think they were initially in the in the 20s in the college football playoff rankings, and yeah, that was a brutal game. Notre Dame beats Navy. This was a lot of points. I thought Navy could really shorten the game with some long possessions and churning the clock, and they ended up losing by 32, I believe, and so it was there. It was, it wasn't I wouldn't say it was a terrible play, but Notre Dame's, they got two stud running backs. CJ Carr looks good. They're going to be an interesting, they're always the polarizing team just because they're not in a conference. The history, the brand, they're a very interesting team and a lot of people in the college football world are split on Notre Dame and why they're getting maybe more respect than a team that beat them like Miami, who was 8 spots behind them despite having the same record and having a head-to-head win against them. So that's an interesting topic that maybe we talk about a little bit this episode, just because we're not recapping a Carolina game. LSU, Bama, this was just a sickening game. LSU had every chance. Nussmeier gets benched. He was playing like pretty much, it was funny. I was seeing, everyone was like, he was seeing ghosts like Sam Darnold, and but he just didn't play well. Their offense wasn't humming. He got benched. The backup, Van Buren, was solid. He moved the ball, but they had some turnovers. But ultimately, there's 6 minutes left. It's 17-9. I'm covering with LSU, and Trey'Dez Green drops a wide open pass on third down, which would have led to a drive extender. And even if they don't get points, they probably flip the field and churn more clock. And then Bama, probably either gets a couple first downs and runs the clock out, or LSU gets a stop, and then they are driving to try and tie the game. But ultimately, they're covering. Trey Desjardins drops it. They get Bama gets great field position, kicks a field goal to go up 11, and then Van Buren literally gets pressured, but he didn't even get stripped. The ball just came out of his hand on the windup. That was a brutal game to watch, and LSU. I went at 0-5, Ross. I didn't go 1-4. Shit, I'm just realizing I went 0-5. God damn. Yeah, because Florida. I mean, Lagway 3 picks in the first. What the hell, man? Kentucky. They've kind of Mark Stoops has kind of risen from the dead in a sense.
So I'll say this: we've been keeping our picks separate, so we don't know if we have the same pick prior to the show. Ross, if me and Becker are on the same side of something moving forward, I think that we need to take that out of the lineup and just fade that pick, because whenever we've been on the same side of something, I don't think that we've won it a single time. Is that not true?
Yeah,
we both like Florida this week.
We might have to do some research on that.
If we're on the same side of a game moving forward, I want to know, because I want to switch my pick.
Florida, yeah, and again, the injury we recorded on Wednesday so we had to submit these picks by Wednesday, and the injury availability comes out. Florida's whole damn team seemed to be out, which I still was just like, they can beat Kentucky. Lagway is better than Cutter Boley, but Lenoris has had a rough season, but people thought Lagway and Nussmeier were 2 of the top 5 guys. Some guys had them top 2 in the country. Yeah. And I know Aller got hurt, and Cade has had a shitty year. It's just been crazy from every single person in college football. If you look at their preseason QB rankings, it's pretty bad. But yeah, Florida. Jesus, I went 0-5. Rough day on Saturday for me. Don't know what to say other than full transparency. We're not hiding from it. We're not hiding from the record. We're going to come back next week and see if we can't go 5-0. So that's my little recap of my 0-5.
I just hit a massive NFL parlay, so as bad as I was on Saturday, I'm feeling good right now. But yeah, to recap my losses, I had Duke -9. They lost outright. They were able to score at will, which is what I thought it was going to happen. I did not know enough about UConn. Had I known that their quarterback was playing as well as he's playing this season, I probably would have taken the over, and that is the side that hit for that game. And I may take the over in the next Duke game, because they have back-to-back games, Clemson and UConn, where they score 30 plus but allow 30 plus. So yeah, that was my first loss. Everyone saw the Indiana game, I assume. It was a great game, but Indiana did not cover 15. They did get out of there with a win. Vandy -6.5 was my one win. I had to earn it, and they had to earn it. That was in overtime against Auburn. Florida State +2 was never really. Clemson kind of dominated that game from kickoff to finish, and I think because of that, and we're going to touch on it later in the episode, Norvell's already hot seat has just kind of exploded, and I think it just comes down to money now and how to get it done logistically. And then Florida -3, they found a way to lose me money 2 weeks in a row. by covering against Georgia when I had Georgia in the cocktail party, and then they turn around and get blown out by Kentucky. It just goes to show that, the transitive property really does not matter or apply. And sometimes when these coaches say that we were only a couple plays away, or, we're close, they're not actually being crazy. The margins for winning and losing sometimes, or like what makes a good team, or a bad team, are sometimes very small. And it's as simple as sometimes people show up and they're locked in and the momentum's flowing. And it's, Cutter Boley is the same quarterback that we dominated in Williams-Brice earlier in the season,
He's
and
gotten better.
And made him look. Granted, that was
like
his first. That was his first big start, and I'm sure that he has gotten better as the season progressed. But still, like, Florida makes this guy look like a superstar, and we tore him up. So it really is a lot more fickle than I think that people. These college football is not professional football, and you can't expect these kids to be as consistent as a pro team. Like, probably the only team that's really been consistently dominant the entire season so far has been Ohio State. So yeah, I was terrible on Saturday. I was terrible. They got backdoored, but it was a lot of points. I was 1-4 yesterday. You know, got to turn things around to close out the season, but we will.
Yeah. Well, and you bring up an interesting point about consistency, because like looking at that Indiana game, I mean, Indiana has been beating the brakes off of everyone they've played. Everyone has an opinion about about Indiana's schedule, and they still have played and beaten Oregon and beat them pretty sound, and then they've beaten everyone else that they've played by double digits. I mean, they've been running up on everyone, and they didn't have their best stuff on Saturday against Penn State, but they found a way to win. I mean, the catch, I guess you weren't watching, or you were busy at the bar.
I saw the catch.
Okay, you saw the catch. Like, those types of plays, third down, like, it just made me think about how it seems like this year South Carolina has not made a key moment play, like those winning plays that you just have to, sometimes almost it's like you pull it out of your ass. Like, Mendoza was getting pressured. He just kind of threw it in the general direction of his receiver, and his receiver went up and made a hell of a play, and even crazier body control to get his foot down. I thought initially his first foot came down out of bounds, and then he dragged his second foot. And so I thought it was going to be incomplete, but obviously, the replay proved that he had made the catch. And it's just like, you need those plays throughout the year. I mean, if you're going to be an elite team and contend in the playoffs, you have to just make those kind of plays in college football. When, I mean, I have, those horrible memories of like when Clemson was on the ropes and I can't remember if it was Trevor or Deshaun got hurt, and they're playing Syracuse, and like Chase Bryce throws like an Eli Manning, DeMario Manningham dot on the sideline.
That was Trevor that got hurt.
Yeah, and like Chase Bryce comes in, Cole, hadn't played a meaningful snap of football in his whole college career, and and they go on and win the national championship that season. Like, it's those types of plays that you have to make, and kind of, I think that's what kind of separates, to your point, like in the NFL, they're all professionals. Everyone's, fairly consistent. The best team in the NFL and the worst team in the NFL aren't too far apart, but you got to make these plays in key moments that.
Well, it's just like, It wasn't part of the DB Blitz, but after my terrible day at the office, I threw some action on the late night game, which was Oregon State, Sam Houston, two of the worst football teams in the country. Sam Houston's 0-7. Oregon State was 1-6 or whatever going into it, and there were just so many just drops and ridiculous plays because the players are just bad. Like, and even a bad NFL team, they have Pro Bowlers on their roster. They have, all pros on their roster. They have guys that were literally the best player that has ever played at their college in the history of that program on their roster. So they may be a bad team relative to the rest of the league, but any given Sunday, they have players who are capable of making phenomenal plays or individual efforts. And I think that sometimes people expect college players to just be able to execute at a much higher level than some are actually capable of doing.
Yeah.
There's a lot more parity and variability in college because they're amateurs, or I mean, a lot of them are getting paid now. But when I say amateur, they're just not as good, and their ability to perform consistently causes more miscues, which causes more things that can go left.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's setting up. It's setting up to be a fun November. I mean, yeah, like you said, like Indiana, they found a way to win. Ohio State looks like they're cruising. The SEC is going to get really interesting. The ACC is going to be very interesting. A lot of these conference races, and specifically, let's dive into the ACC because there's two. The upsets that did come were in the ACC. Louisville gets knocked off, and Virginia gets knocked off. So now you're looking at the ACC, and they didn't have a team in the top 12 of the initial college football rankings. Your two of your highest ranked teams lost on Saturday. So now I'm looking at the standings. Georgia Tech, Virginia, SMU, Pitt are 5-1. Duke is 4-1. Louisville is 4-2, and Miami is 3-2. So hypothetically, I mean, you still have 6 teams that could potentially get into the ACC championship, depending on how the dominoes fall.
Yeah, so the ACC race was kind of buttoned up prior to this past week, but Virginia and Louisville both losing has really changed the dynamic of that. And there are some teams that were kind of dead that have a little bit more of an opportunity to control their own destiny, because I think 2 of those 5-1 teams play each other.
Georgia Tech plays Pitt.
Yep.
The last week, or the week before rivalry week.
Yep.
Virginia has to play at Duke on the 15th, so they're playing at Duke this week. And so they're 5-1. Duke's 4-1. Who does SMU have to play? SMU plays Louisville on the 22nd.
Yep.
And
so
then
the ACC race is now probably not going to be decided completely until the last week of the season.
Yeah, it got a lot more interesting. And then Miami plays Pitt at the last game of the year on rivalry week.
So after all of this Carson Beck and Miami choke job talk, they might find a way to sneak their way back into the conference championship game and earn themselves an auto bid.
Well, and also it goes to, because the committee's basically saying when you lose matters. Like Miami, they have a resume defining win against Notre Dame, who the committee is considering a top 10 team. at this point, and I don't see another L on Notre Dame's schedule. So, and especially the way they're playing. And so now Miami, with even if they can't get to the ACC championship, they're 10-2. If they go 10-2, they're going to have a chance to beat Pitt at the end of the year, which, assuming Pitt will probably be in the top 25 at that point, potentially. And then they have the win over Notre Dame. Like, they could sneak up back into the at-large conversation.
Yeah, so if I were a Vanderbilt fan, I would be terrified of Miami winning out but not making the ACC championship, because that would essentially be, to your point, another 10-2 team. And if
to
Notre
compare
Dame,
to Vandy's resume,
if Notre Dame continues to play well, if Notre Dame wins out, they'll finish the season as a top 10 team. So you're sitting there at the end of the season, and if you're the committee, would you rather put in a 10-2 Miami with a win over a top 10 Notre Dame, or a 10-2 Vanderbilt with their resume? And basically, if I were a Vanderbilt fan, I would feel incredibly uncomfortable right now, even though, in my opinion, if Vanderbilt were to finish 10-2, that should absolutely be enough to get them into the field. But it may not.
I mean, but when you look at it, though, I mean, so looking more at the, kind of flipping from the ACC to the SEC now, I mean, the SEC is jumbled too. I mean, A&M and Bama 6-0 in the conference. A&M still undefeated. Bama has the loss to Florida State.
In my opinion, the SEC is kind of already done. Like, from a who's going to make.
But the conference can cannibalize itself in November. I mean,
yes, if there is an upset at the top, if we beat A&M, or if Auburn were to beat Alabama, then things would become a lot more interesting there at the end. But as it stands, it looks like it's going to be A&M and Bama in the conference championship, because A&M doesn't have a conference loss yet. Bama doesn't have a conference loss yet. Bama has the tiebreaker over Georgia.
Yeah, but Bama play. All right, look, Bama plays Oklahoma this weekend.
True.
Oklahoma's ranked 11th. They have 2 conference losses. And what if they beat Bama? Texas plays Georgia this weekend. Texas is 7-2, 4-1 in conference. Georgia's 8-1, 6-1. I mean, really, honestly, the team that's kind of cruising is Ole Miss, because Ole Miss they have to play Florida, the Citadel, and Mississippi State. I think Ole Miss is in the best position in the SEC. I mean, outside of A&M, because they're undefeated, so they could have a slip up, even if they lose to us. They are still going to be in prime position. But, like, Bama already lost to FSU. That is a terrible loss. Like, that is, and again, like, that's what is so interesting about the committee. It's like people have forgotten, but that loss is going to be brought back up, especially when you're comparing resumes. Like, Miami's win over Notre Dame at the beginning of the season is going to be compared to Alabama's loss to Florida State when you're comparing 10-2 Miami and 10-2 Bama. Like, Bama has more wins, higher notch wins in SEC play than anything Miami's done in ACC play. But those things used to matter.
Bama has the worst loss of anyone in the top 12 right now, and it'll be interesting to see, like, how that affects their seeding. If Bama wins out and wins the SEC championship, they'll still be a top 4 seed and get a bye. So the loss to Florida State, while it'll be one of the more inexplicable losses of the season, if not the last few years. Like, people will look back on it like, how did they lose that game? But I don't really think it's going to end up hurting them in their, goal to win a championship this year. Like, they still control their own destiny and really control their ability to have a bye if they continue to win. Although, because of it, if they do drop a game or lose the SEC championship, their road could potentially be a lot tougher than it would have been had they won that game in the opener.
Right.
The seeding of the first round is going to be fascinating to me, because where you fall on 5 to 8 is going to be super important, because, to my point that I've been hammering home about not wanting the group of 5 to have an auto bid, whoever lucks into getting that team is going to have a cakewalk first round game. And then, whoever ends up getting the ACC champion has the second easiest, path to the second round. But there's going to be 2 teams in the first round that have an incredibly difficult first round matchup. So what being the 7 seed versus the 5 seed is going to be a big deal, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying. There's still like so many games that could create chaos, like in the seeding and in the matchup. I mean, look, like Tennessee is not going to make the playoff this year, but they get to host Vandy in Neyland on rivalry week. Like, that's an opportunity for Tennessee to keep Vandy out of the playoff. Like, Louisville and Virginia at 19 and 20 lost. Like, Michigan is at 18. Like, what if they beat Ohio State? Like, what if Michigan's 9 and 2 and they beat Ohio State on rivalry weekend? How much are they going to potentially jump with a win like that? And then you still have Miami, Southern Cal, Utah. I mean, it looks like Texas Tech's going to run away with the Big 12. They crushed BYU, who was at 12 going into this week. And so, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Oregon snuck out of Kinnick. I thought they were going to lose that game. Hell of a drive.
I think Oregon is
another team where I brought it up. They didn't have their best stuff. Tough environment in Kinnick Stadium. I think
Oregon is one of the more fraudulent
plays.
I think Oregon is.
I mean, we talked about it earlier after they got smoked by Indiana. Like, they might be a team to fade in the playoff if that, I would take Texas Tech in a heartbeat if they were matched up
definitely
with
good.
Oregon.
Dante Moore.
Or I would take Notre Dame over Oregon, or really any SEC matchup as well.
For whatever they had last year, or whatever they've had in the past few years, when there's a team that has even a close roster to theirs, or is just able to be competitive, they just don't have that extra sauce that they've had the past few years. Like, they've
been bad in big games. If
I were a team that's going to end up playing in the first round, like, not get a bye.
You want Group of 5 or Oregon?
I would want Group of 5, ACC champion, or Oregon. Somebody's going to have the misfortune of playing. Well, I guess I don't know what the order will be yet. There's going to be a lot of cannibalism in the last few weeks of the season, to your point. And but yeah, the way that 5 through 8, or really 5 through 10, shakes out is going to be huge.
Yeah. I mean, because it's going to be interesting too. Like right now, Alabama's 4, Georgia's 5, Ole Miss is 6. Like Bama beat Georgia, Georgia beat Ole Miss. So who's going to get up and get into out of those three teams, who's going to get up into the top 4? One of those teams might actually end up, in the 6th. But you're feeling confident. The tough matchups are going to be the 7-10 and the 8-9. Because what it looks like is the group of 5 is going to be the 12 seed. The ACC champ will be the 11 seed. But also maybe, I don't know, will the committee elevate a two-loss ACC champ over a 2-loss at-large because they played an extra game and won their conference? Are they going to elevate them over in the seeding?
I think a lot of that will come down to brand. Like let's say that Notre Dame just chokes and they lose another game, or I don't know, the team that's coming out of the ACC is not as attractive from a brand standpoint as Miami is. Let's say that Miami is not the ACC champion. It's
Georgia Tech.
It's Pitt or Georgia Tech or Virginia. That ACC champion is going to be treated differently than if Miami runs the table and Miami is the ACC champion. If Miami's the ACC champion and they have that Notre Dame win on their resume, that's a team that might get bumped up to 9 or 10 rather than being, saddled at 11. Whereas if it's Pitt, Virginia, or Georgia Tech that wins the ACC, they'll probably have the 11th seed. So a lot of it
I would agree with
come
that.
down to like who it ends up being. But that's kind of that's the name of the game. If you're one of the have-nots, if you're one of the non-blue bloods.
But that's what I'm saying too. Is like Utah is 7-2 right now. They're ranked number 15, and they play at Baylor. They host Kansas State, and they play at Kansas. I mean, they should probably end up 10-2. It might get hairy. It's going to be very interesting. And to your point, the whole group of 5 conversation, someone's going to be pissed as fuck about the group of 5.
So a 10-2 Utah team is a team that's going to get fucked by the group of 5. And I'm not a Utah fan, so I don't care. But, I will continue to pound the table that a 10-2 Utah team should be in the field over a group of 5 team. And you, the man that has chosen to defend the group of 5, are going to have to answer to the Utah fans when they do go 10-2 in a Power 4 conference, and they're in the Belk Bowl because we got to let Memphis in.
I mean, you have to you're dealt the cards that you're dealt. I mean, we won.
What do you mean?
This is the setup of the playoffs, so you can't bitch about it. It's the setup. What
do you mean? I can absolutely bitch about it.
Well, you can bitch about it if you want it to change, but I mean,
do want it changed.
I did, yeah. What do you got to say, Ross?
Okay, that's a great point. Ross is saying, in the scenario where there is an ACC champion or a Big 12, it really doesn't matter what conference. There's a conference champion from the Power 4 that is 8-4 or 9-3. Under the current rules, they get in because they're a conference champion. Beck, how do you feel about that? Do you think that a conference champion that was 8-4 or 9-3 prior to playing in the championship game should get into the field?
Yes. That's the setup. I mean, we talk about,
we have the ability to change the setup. Do you think that when the current setup expires, do you think we should keep that the same or we should change that?
Well, the thing is, they're going to, that's the thing is everyone's going to, when they expanded the playoff, this is what they opened themselves up to, is everyone's going to bitch every single year. There's going to be a fan base or a conference or someone is going to get slighted every single year because it's about a subjective ranking. I'm totally for a winning your conference, you get in. You won your conference. You deserve to get in the playoff. It's just the same thing it's similar to the NFL. if one division sucks and you have a losing record in the NFL, but you win your division, you get in the playoffs, and that sucks for the other teams that had a better record than you but played in a tougher division. But that's just how the rules are set up. And it's, people can bitch about it, but it's the setup. So, like, the college football playoff essentially just opened itself up that now every single year someone's going to bitch, just like last year when they had the seeding set up for the conference champions instead of just the top four, just going by the rankings. So people bitched about that because Oregon was the number 1 seed and had to play Ohio State in the second round, whereas like Penn State played Boise State or whatever it was, and then SMU, Penn State got to basically play SMU and Boise State leading up to the semifinals. And so everyone was bitching about that, so they changed that. And then, so basically someone's going to bitch every single year. All I'm saying is they expanded the playoff and made the group of 5 rule to give the group of 5 a seat at the table. And it is what it is. Like, if the playoff is expanded, so in the past, before the group of 5 had that spot, you only had 4 spots or 2 spots. So now there's 7 other spots now. So just as a Power 4 team, you don't really, in my opinion, you're just bitching because you're not good enough to be a top 11 team. Like, I get that you're saying that the Power 4 team or the group of 5 team, like, should at least be ranked in the top 12. Like, it shouldn't just be automatic, but like, just go be a top 11 team. And it's just the way it's set up. Like, someone is going to bitch every single year. So you can't just keep changing the format because someone bitched about it. No matter what the format is, someone's going to have a problem with it. So you just have to pick a format and stick with it, just like the NFL does, just like every other sport in the world does.
I think the format that we should pick and stick with is no auto bids. To answer the question that was originally posed, do I think that an 8-4 team that wins their conference should get an auto bid? No, I would be against that. I know that's the current setup. I'm saying the next time we have the opportunity to change that, it should be changed. In my opinion, 12 is the perfect number, but I do not think there should be any auto bids. I know the auto bids for the conference champion was a way for them to try to keep the conference championships relevant. But guess what? They're not, and the people that care about conference championships will always care about them, but really they just
conference championships do not matter anymore.
They don't
That's
matter.
What's sad. That's what's sad.
The only way that it could still matter is if you do it my way, which is last year they said that the outcome of conference championships would not affect seeding, which was their way of preemptively saying, South Carolina fans, it doesn't matter that you just beat Clemson in Clemson. If they upset SMU, we're not going to penalize SMU, and you're still not going to get into the field. In my opinion, it is a 12-team playoff, and it should be the top 12 teams. But the top 12 teams should be picked after conference championships. And yes, unfortunately, if you make your conference championship and you lose, that should be a data point that could hurt you. So if you're the 11th best team in the country going into conference championship weekend and you lose your conference championship, that might bump you out. But also, if you're the 11th best team in the country going into conference championship weekend and you win your conference championship, that should improve your seeding. Now, if you somehow find yourself in a conference championship and you're 8-4 and you're 19th and you win your conference, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to jump from 19 to 12 and get in. But it'll move you up. You'll still need help. In my opinion, the rankings should come out as they do, and every single game, once the college football playoff rankings are out should affect things, and that should go through championship weekend. And then at the end of conference championship weekend, they should take the top 12 teams, no auto bids. If you win your conference, that will, in theory, improve your chances of being in a top 12 team. And it is good to win your conference. I would love to win an SEC championship, regardless of whether we make the playoff or not. You would think that if we win the SEC championship, we would also be a top 12 team, and that would give us a better chance of having a first-round bye. But every team should want to win their conference because every team should want to win every game they play in. But I don't think there should be any automatic bids. Insane.
Well, dude, the problem is there's 12 fucking bozos doing these rankings that don't watch games, that they change the criteria for how they rank the teams from year to year.
And I'm also for ranking reform. I think that we should improve how we rank strength of record, strength of schedule. I'm fine with reintroducing a computer ranking as an aid to the committee, and they can supersede it or veto it, which I know that they will do. But yeah, I mean, in my opinion, auto bids, I'm not for them in any capacity.
I mean, there's like, but that's what I'm like. I would rather you get in, like, to me, winning your conference is earning a spot, like whether you're, and then there's obviously different levels in the conferences, but that's eventually where we need to go to as well when everyone's playing 9 conference games, and we need to play 3 Power 4 out of conference games. Every Power 4 team, like South Carolina needs to play 9 SEC games. We need to play Clemson in the ACC, and we need to play a Big 12 team and a Big 10 team. That is where it needs to go so that we can actually get some cross there needs to be cross power, Power 4 conferences need to be playing Power 4 conferences, because that's the only way we can figure out if the everyone always shits on the SEC because it's like they just play each other, and then there's biased rankings so that when the SEC, wins a game, it doesn't, or when they lose a game, it doesn't hurt them as much. And when they win a game, it helps them more because they're just playing each other and the rankings are biased. Like, we just need to have all of these Power 4 conferences intermingling. And to me, I would love if – I'll just go on a rant, Ross, while you pees. To me, in my perfect world, I would love for South Carolina to play – obviously, we play Clemson every year in the ACC. Maybe we could rotate some other ACC schools, but I would love to see us go play a Big Ten team every year, or do a home. It doesn't have to be the same program, but play at Southern Cal one year, and then we host Michigan one year. And, same thing with the Big 12. Like, we go, I mean, they're putting all this money, and all these athletes are getting paid. Like, they can the travel schedules. Yeah, they're not yeah, like, this is, it's becoming more than, the student athlete bullshit is dying fast. Like, and so ultimately these athletes are getting paid. And so the travel and the money that's flowing in, the TV networks, I mean, college football is more popular. Probably the rights are up there with MLB. I mean, there's just so many MLB games, but NBA games, but like, the money is there. And so we need to treat, where it's going, we need to treat it that way. Like, I want to see 9 SEC games a year, play Clemson, play a Big 10 team, play a Big 12 team, and every other Power 4 team should be playing. Like, let's get every conference to 16 teams and duke it out. or 18 teams, and let's go see which conference is actually better. Like by actually having conferences play each other consistent, so there can actually be data. Well, the SEC won 70% of their games against the Big Ten this year, and 60% of their games against the ACC, and 80% of their games against the Big 12. Like, you can actually put data points to which conference is better. So there's better data points to rank. Because if we're going to have
I'm all
humans
for
rank,
I'm all for playing more Power 4 on Power 4 games, and that would if it was a mandate that you could only play Power 4 teams, like that would effectively completely remove the group of 5 from being able to schedule in a way that would get them into the field. So maybe allow one group of 5 game on the schedule per year. But I think that FCS teams should be taken out of scheduling. Like we said, play them in the spring, play them in the preseason, still give them their money, give them a chance to fund their athletic departments, but take those games off the schedule. If to your point, we're playing 9 SEC games, Clemson, a Big 12 team, a Big 10 team, and everybody's doing that, or a Big 12 team, a group of 5 team. So the group of 5 gets to schedule, 3 to 4 Power 4 teams outside of their conference schedule. If they're smart about it, that should give them enough meat on the bone that if they go 12-0, maybe they do get into the top 12. But if you eliminate the auto bids and you force teams to schedule aggressively, and so we're actually playing each other, well, then the records will take care of themselves. The problem is they're scheduling as weak as possible. So you do have all these teams that are 11-1, 10-2 at the end of the season because they've beat up on a cupcake non-con and it looks good on paper. No, like, it should be almost impossible to finish the season undefeated or 11-1. And then it'll be a lot easier to pick because we've actually played each other on the field. And the top 12 teams will the regular season scheduling should make it so that by the end of the year, it's so easy to pick the top 12 that there's not even any arguments anymore because we've already played so many Power 4 teams that the records, it's just obvious.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I still think too, like, they should use a combination of the old BCS rankings and the committee. So, like, basically have a weighted ranking where the BCS old computer rankings count for 50% and the committee counts for 50%, because fuck the committee, if I'm being honest. Like, they don't know what the hell they're doing, and they change the human element of it, and they change their criteria year to year because of their bias as humans. And it's not a consistent, like, I mean, they bitch about it. Like, Greg McElroy, I actually love his commentary on the rankings, last year and the year before, and like, he's just like, so last year the committee was telling me these 3 things matter the most, and this year the committee's telling me these 3 things matter the most, and it's not consistent. And so that's no way, in my opinion, for it to, like, that can't be the end-all, be-all. I think we still need, it's nice to have a committee and a human element to the rankings, because I think the BCS those rankings didn't always account for some of the things that, it's just raw data. So I just think they need to combine the two, and have.
We've seen teams get screwed both ways. 13-0 Auburn got screwed in the BCS era, and 13-0 FSU got screwed in the committee era. So, like, humans can screw over a team, the computers can screw over a team. I still think that uh, if if we have 12 teams making the field, that kind of solves the problem that FSU ran into, and that solves the problem that Auburn went into, because both of those teams still would have made it in that scenario. I don't really feel bad for the teams that are, you know, 13, 14, 15. But I do know in the future we're going to be on the bubble. So I'm preemptively fighting for as many spots for us as possible. That's why I will continue to campaign against auto bids. But at the end of the day, yeah, if you can't make the top 12, like, you can't feel too bad for yourself. I will complain every time we get cut off, but yeah, 12 teams solves a lot of the issue in and of itself. But there's always room for improvement, and I'm of the opinion that we should continue to find a way to rank based off of strength of schedule better, and continue to move away from any auto bids.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, someone's gonna have a problem with it, no matter what, every year. When you don't have a system that just is set up like I said, the NFL is what it is. Win your division or be the two wild card teams.
And
Like,
my pushback to that is the talent level in the NFL is way more even than the talent level, in my opinion, especially within the Power Four. Like, my main objection to the Group of Five is, like, if you take anyone in the Power Four that's in the top 25 and you drop them in a Group of Five schedule, that team's going to go 11-1, if not run the table. That's not the same. Like, you can't just take a team in the NFL from one division and drop them in another division, and it drastically changes what their record would be at the end of the season. Like, in the
yeah,
NFL, you're playing NFL teams every single week, and regardless of your division, there's enough non-division games that the cream rises to the top in the NFL, and you find a way in. Like, I know that there are divisions that are much more difficult than others, but you're still playing NFL teams every single week. That is not true in college when you're outside of the Power Four playing in the Group of Five. And, I think a lot of SEC and Big Ten fans would say that the level of competition is a lot different in those two conferences than it is in the ACC or the Big 12. I know the ACC and the Big 12 are going to push back against that, but that's why I'm for more interconference, non-conference games, so we can settle that on the field as well.
yeah. That has to be to me, that has to be the ultimate way the landscape in the game moves. Is you have to it has to be all Power Four, all Power Four games. And to your point, if you're going to keep the Group of Five auto qualifier, then maybe it's 11 Power Four games and a Group of Five team on all the Power Four schedules, so that the Group of Five can schedule up. But
Like, I think,
dude, I think a lot of people feel the way you feel about the Group of Five.
if you're a Group of Five team and you don't have a Power Four team scheduled for every single one of your non-conference games, then you're not taking it seriously. Like, if you're a Group of Five team and you're scheduling an FCS opponent in your non-conference scheduling, then you're not trying. Like, and I don't think that you should be rewarded for that. Your in-conference schedule, respectfully, is already easy enough that you have to be as aggressive as the Power Four will allow you to be in your non-conference scheduling. Because,
Yeah.
like, for us, like, we played 6 ranked teams in our conference schedule this year, and we play Clemson every year. I know they're not ranked this year, but we don't really have to go out of our way to beef up our schedule with our non-conference opponents because of the conference that we're in. But if you know that I might not see a ranked conference opponent for the entire season, then you do have to do that in your non-conference schedule. And if you know what you know and you still schedule an FBS or FCS opponent, then I don't think you should be rewarded for that.
Well, here's a little devil's advocate. All these, you're saying the group of 5 needs to go schedule Power 4, but all of the Power 4 are scheduling FCS because they're scared to play group of 5 because they don't want to have a fuck up because they're conference schedules.
Well, that's why we need to make it a mandate.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Obviously, that would be the devil's advocate thing of, like, a group of 5 can't, like, South Carolina is not looking to schedule a Memphis or a Tulane because we're looking to schedule a Coastal Carolina or a SC State, which we had both of them on our schedule this year because we knew we were playing tough in conference.
If you made it a rule that you could not schedule an FCS opponent, and you made it a rule that you had to have at least one group of 5 opponent, then
that changes everything.
It would change it. Like, teams would have to go out and find, like, not everyone would be able to get Coastal. And then Coastal, the easy group of 5 schools, they would have all of these Power 4 teams wanting to schedule them. And then they would be able to schedule as aggressively in the non-conference as they wanted to, and then obviously it would change from year to year. And I don't know. We're kind of rambling at this point. How do you want to tie a bow on it this week? Should we talk about Norvell?
Yeah, I mean, just hitting on the carousel a little bit. I mean, that's just an ongoing topic. I think really the only thing that really, to your point, like, Norvell is probably, if the Florida State job opens, that's a super attractive job with, a university with a lot of tradition in the state of Florida with the great recruiting territory in a conference that they should be able to dominate if they get the right guy. So, yeah, that's going to be very interesting if he gets canned, and I know his seat is hot and got hotter after the ugly loss to Clemson, and they were just dropping balls, and they didn't look like they just didn't look competent. Yeah, they just didn't look competent.
I think it's more so that just if you're a Florida State fan, there's nothing to be excited about right now. Like, they got the flashy assistant hires and Gus Malzahn, I think at this point he's a dead man walking. It's not if they'll fire him, it's when. And the only reason that it hasn't been announced is probably because they're trying to figure out how to do it from a logistics standpoint. Yeah. So, that's just another job that's going to have to be filled. And it's just, Drink loses to Texas A&M. He's a guy that's on a lot of the hot boards. I think Drinkowitz is a good coach. But I think that with him losing to A&M, Missouri's now 0-6 against ranked SEC teams in the last 2 years. So it's
big game Drink.
It's just like all these jobs have to be filled, and everyone thinks they're getting Lane, and I think Lane's going to stay at Ole Miss at this point. Yeah. And then then where do you go? Like, I've seen so many Florida fans that are already going to say, like, they would be upset with Eli Drinkowitz. They would be upset if they hired, Summerall or the Memphis guy or whoever. Like, I don't think that there's that many good coaches to go around. I don't think anyone's going to be happy with who they get. And this is kind of just me in a roundabout way saying, like, as Carolina fans especially, we need to lock down our defensive staff and let Shane continue to try and figure it out. Hopefully we can find an answer at OC, but it's just crazy out there right now. I just want to keep reiterating that it could always be worse. And like Florida, we both lost money on them this week, and we were both complaining about the state of their program. Like, if you're a Florida fan, why do you think that anyone wants to come deal with that? Like, y'all used to have something, but all of the aura that Florida had under Spurrier and Urban Meyer is gone. Y'all have found a way to just make that place not cool, not desirable. You know, y'all beat Kentucky 50 years in a row, no matter what. And I know that Mark Stoops has made Kentucky a lot more competitive and competent than they'd ever been. But Kentucky's not like they're not good even by Mark Stoops terms this year, and they whooped y'all. So it's just like, why would anyone want to go down there with the pressure and expectations that they're gonna have? Because it's just a dumpster fire. I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah. I don't know. Beamer out on the recruiting trail. 5-star DN Maryland commit Zion Lee posting pics with Sterling Lucas on Twitter. Let's get a little flip there. Round out this class. Maybe go on a little 3-game winning streak. Beat Clemson. Maybe, I don't know, if we get in, Loxley might get fired. Yeah, like, it's another Power 4 job open. Not saying anyone wants. Talk about a place no one would want to coach. Maryland. Yeah, that's if I was a football coach, that's the last place I would want to. Lame ass fans. Whatever, Maryland. Whatever. But hopefully we can flip Zion Lee. But yeah, the carousel again. It's going to continue. And yeah, just a little quick tidbit on Norvell, and it seems like Mark Stoops. Speaking of Mark Stoops, like, I thought he was going to get canned because I thought Kentucky was going to send it in this season and just lose the remainder of their games and get smacked by Louisville. And
that's another funny thing too.
They're fighting back.
You know, Stoops was so on the hot seat to start the year, and it's not even that they've had a great year, but it's just like, if you're a Kentucky fan, like, why would you want to enter this market either? Like, it's the same reason that I don't want to, like, I'm also not ready to give up on Beamer, but even if if we lose to Clemson, I will be furious, and I will be really kind of over.
Whatever the fuck Beamer says is going to fall on deaf ears.
I won't be calling for his head, but I'll be like, look, bro, I don't give a fuck about, the culture or brotherly love or whatever. Like, we just lost at home to a bad Clemson team. Get your fucking shit together. That will be kind of where I'll be at if we lose that game. But even at that point, I still wouldn't want to go into the market for a head coach this offseason. And that's probably how Kentucky feels too. They're like, well, shit, like, we got to buy Mark out, and then we got to be the 10th or 11th best job available. Yeah, we'll just wait. We'll just wait a couple, like, We'll let the buyout get smaller and attack it later, because it's crazy. Right. Why do that?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. That Clemson game is, I don't think anyone's expecting us to beat A&M. Hopefully we look competitive. Hopefully we pull the upset, but I don't think anyone's expecting us to win that game. But we need to beat Coastal and Clemson. That's huge for Beamer, even if we can't pull the upset. In College Station this weekend, we'll talk more on Wednesday of that game in College Station. Gamecocks coming off a bye, headed out to Texas. Shout out Roy. He's still going to go. He's still going to make the drive up from Houston despite our failures this year. But that's gonna put a wrap on this episode. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Send in questions, comments. We like seeing those on our clips and on our videos. Love hearing what else other people think in this crazy college football landscape. That was an episode where we kind of ranted about. That was fun, just kind of getting into I wish South Carolina was involved in the conversations around the college football playoff, but that's obviously not happening this year. But it's definitely relevant to the to what we're talking about with college basketball. But yeah, that was a good episode. Appreciate everyone listening. As always, go Cox.
Go Cox.